How y'all doing? Good. All right. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming and spending this time with us today. Y'all, forgive my voice. That's why I got the microphone so y'all can hear me. My name is Crystal, and you guys, if you were here earlier, then you saw our young guys here from our Work Readiness Enrichment Program, also known as REP, and we are with the Deep Center of Savannah, Georgia. So just a little bit about us, which y'all basically already know. The Work Readiness Enrichment Program is for our young guys who are involved in the justice system. They're justice impacted people, if you will. So today we are going to do the school to prison pipeline simulation for you guys. We definitely, like I said, appreciate y'all joining us today. So we are gonna start by, obviously you guys have questions. Did you guys get the questions? Okay, fantastic. So those are just to get us in the mindset of what we're gonna be doing today. So since we are all, well, most of us are adults in the room, I want everyone to take a second, close your eyes. When you close your eyes, I want you to go back in time with me, if you will, to a time when you were a teenager, 14, 15, 16. Think about what made you happy during this time. How were you spending your days? What was your biggest joy? What was your biggest worry? For me, when I was 14, 15, 16, my biggest concerns were making sure that I washed the dishes before my mama came home, making sure that I thawed out that chicken that she told me to thaw out, even though I did it when I heard her pulling up in the driveway. What brought me joy was, I don't know, probably some Rihanna song, possibly Lady Gaga. I was really into pop when I was a teenager. And when you guys are thinking about that, I want you guys to now open your eyes. Most of y'all are looking at me now. And during the simulation, you guys, I want you to keep those things in mind, but I also want you to think about the stories that we are going to share with y'all today. We're going to be sharing the stories of real young people who are impacted by the justice system. So the main goals of our simulation today are going to be to start a conversation about what choices, what circumstances, and also what consequences are involved when a young person makes a choice that lands them in the justice system. I also want us to all, because we're gonna, in a minute, split up into groups. I know it's a little small in here, so, but there are gonna be different groups, and you all will have the story of a young person. It's gonna be based on real life events. And these may not be your stories, but these are real stories. So at this time, I am going to have my bestie, Kaden, come around and give you all a story. So we have, I'm including you in the count, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 groups here, and we have, 10 people, and we have 4 different areas. If y'all will look around the room, we have a section here with a young person's story. In the back of the room, there's a young person's story in the other corner, and then up here in the front. So if you all will come and group yourselves together, or I can group you if you want. Y'all just let me know. Bestie, Kaden, can you help me out, please? Those are the stories here. All right, so I see no one has moved, so this is what we're gonna do. We got a group right here, We have a group here. I'll just keep y'all together, and I'll keep y'all together. And so, Kaden is going to give you guys three groups. Okay, cool. So yeah, similar setup. So yeah, girl, can I count? So yeah, we'll do 1 and 2 and 3. Oh, thank you, thank you. And they can be our audience because they're a little late, which is not their fault, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. So, Kaden, can you go on and pass out these stories? Um, yeah. When you get your story, I want you to read this young person's backstory. These stories are what you will carry with you, and these are going to obviously put you in the mindset of who this young person is. This is your character. In this group, well, in your groups, you'll have one person who's going to be the reader. We'll have another person who's going to be our timekeeper. The reader is going to read for the group what the young person's backstory is. The timekeeper is obviously going to keep the time. And you will have a scenario, you have your backstory, you'll have a scenario, and then you will have a choice. You're going to make the best choice. Y'all going to talk to each other. This is a very interactive activity. So y'all are going to talk to each other and decide what's going to be the best choice for your young person. You'll see your outcome, and then you're going to have the opportunity to say, what if there were resources? What if there were interventions? What could have been done to avoid the outcome that this young person dealt with? So at this time, I'm going to allow you all to read your backstories, and your color is going to correspond to where you're going in the room. So our orange group will be in this back corner to the right. Oh, sorry, the purple, that's a little confusing. Y'all gonna be up here with the dark blue. And then the yellow group, y'all will be in that back corner. And when we get to the what if portion, remember your reader, they will be the person who can write. And since we have sticky notes, you guys can use the sticky notes. I am open for questions if you guys have questions. And we also have our young people who can assist you as well as Marissa, our director. She's here for questions too. And at the end, we will come together and have a conversation about what your what ifs were. You can tell us about your young person, but I'll walk y'all back through that because it's a lot of steps. You want to go talk to them and see if Okay, everyone. Um, as Caden is playing us back into time, I would love for everyone to join me here, back at our seats with your groups, just so we can discuss your what ifs. You can, if y'all want to bring your stickies from the what ifs, you can do that. Or if you just want to snatch that off of the wall, you can do that as well. I do want to spend these last 10 minutes that we have with you all discussing what solutions y'all came up with, what your conversations were like, and I really want to hear you guys' takes, well, really just y'all's summaries of your young people's stories. So, again, thank y'all so much for taking this time with us. Thank y'all for reading, discussing our young people's stories, and just thank you for being here and caring about this cause. So I will start with our yellow group. If you all just tell us about your young people's backstory, if you will, and what ifs you guys came up with.
Hey, everybody. We had character number 2, which was Tiana, a young black female, 14. She was lower or working class, and just her scenario was her family. She was only being raised by her father, who, single father. He was diagnosed with a fatal illness that prevents him from working. She was 14 years old. She was the eldest of 5 children. Her mother had nothing to do with the family, not involved in her family's life at all. And she was taking on the role of a mother figure for her siblings. But she was too young to get a job, and she needed to get help to provide for the family. The lights were off, and she had a lot of scenarios, like friends who she knew who were making money selling drugs, for example. So we ran through both of the scenarios. One was, one of them, I'm sorry. Oh, they took it down already, huh? Okay. But one of the scenarios was to sell the drugs, and she would have ended up in prison or jail. The other option was to, I think it was to get some kind of a lie or something like that. But then she stole electricity from the neighbor. You know, you run that cable cord. Yes. And then the neighbor snitched on her, y'all. How? You know what I'm saying? So the neighbor snitched on her. We didn't like that. That wasn't cool, y'all. So anywho, we decided that some of the solutions could be that if we had caring teachers or neighbors in the community who who are supportive and noticed Tiana's situation and came alongside her and helped her instead of just immediately accusing her of crime and having the whole family, she ended up being, in a foster care with that last situation where they stole the electricity. So we felt like if the neighbor had just been, questioned the situation first and cared more, that would be helpful. The other solution we had was family reunification resources and parenting classes and counseling and therapy, since her mother was no longer involved in the situation. Maybe they could find a second parent. The third solution was we wish that resources were provided to the father, so when he was diagnosed with this fatal illness, if they had done a little bit more research, okay, you have 5 kids, let's give you the resources you need. You can't work, so y'all need food, you need whatever it is you need. So we wanted them to have more social network resources and services at the point of diagnosis. And our other solution was a liaison in the community to build trust within the community, and then link these individuals in the community with systems that would answer their needs. And our final solution was to have wrapped around care programs and a follow-up system because one of the people in our group was saying that they had a situation where they moved every year. So we wish that, like, for example, at the end of the year, are you coming back? You know, just a little survey or something, and, you know, kind of stay in contact. And maybe, like, if you don't have food to eat or whatever the situation is, we follow up with each of our students. Maybe there's somebody specifically designated who can do that, because I'm sure them councils have like 600 childs. Amen.
Thank you. Yes. Can we snap it up for Kay and for the yellow group? I'm going to pass it to the next group. And I wanted to just do a quick survey. How many of y'all talked about community-oriented services? Okay. How many of the services that y'all talked about, are they like currently, do y'all know of these things that might be presently available for young people? Some of them. Okay. So who is are you the spokesperson for you? Okay. All right. So all right.
This girl here named Dominique Dominican, is 15 years old. Basically, what we come up with was that the problem with her is that she's lack of support. Father and mom stay out all day. They argue in front of her. You know, when she do come home, they ain't got no money to get her. You know, and basically, make long story short with her is that if the things she want to get, she can't get because her parents don't have the money to do it. And what if come up with is that she can get community help from a mentor. She can go to a boys and girls club, and get assistant with tutoring, and they help you with the program and stuff. She won't go out and play and go out, get a job, find a job. She's 15 years old. She pretty much can still find a little job somewhere, working at the boys and girls club.
Right.
And a WIOA program. Yeah, she can get in too.
Okay. We want to make sure that we hear you.
Can you say that again? We want to make sure we hear you. The WIOA program through the Department of Labor that will pay them to get their GED or pay them to stay in school and get their high school diploma. And they will also, it also helps them to, it will help them to find a job also.
Thank you. Yes, thank y'all. Can we snap it up also for the blue/purple group?
So this is a 16-year-old youngster who is biracial, Black and Latino, and he was trying to find an escape from home and school. He was diagnosed recently with ADHD. His medication has recently changed. He was having problems at home and school. Like I said, his cousin recently moved. His academics was not good. So he decided he was going in the car with one of his friends, got pulled over from the police, and then everything went down. Our interventions were that we would give him, first of all, another thing was that his mother and father were separated, and they had a not so good relationship. So we would give the parents counseling, we would give the child counseling, we'll try to find him a job, just let him have an outlet with maybe sports and things like that. Okay.
Thank you. Can we snap it up for the orange group, please? I really appreciate the way that you all talked about these young people's stories with a lot of care. And these are the stories, like I said, of real young people that I work with every day. And before I came in, I didn't know them, but I knew their stories. And the power in a narrative is really important. But also the power of restorative tools, which is, we didn't use that word, but that's what you guys offered. Community services, job programs, education programs, counseling services. All of the solutions that you guys recommended were community-based, and these are restorative things. These are alternatives to our youth being involved in the justice system. And this is the way forward out of the cycle that continues, because all of the outcomes for these young people were negative, regardless of if they took the high road or the low road. And that is the reality for a lot of our young people. And so our charge, as all of us here, you have now taken on the role of an advocate, whether you were that before you came in here or not, because you're leaving as an advocate. You're leaving with that knowledge, you're leaving with those tools, and we can use these things to go forward and create restorative services in the community. And with that, I leave you with the knowledge and the tools to find a way forward. And that's it. That's my time. Yes, ma'am.
Program and JTPA and whatever names, for the youths who are 15. I think that it started with 15-year-old and all that, especially ladies or girls who were having children and things like that, dropping out of high school, dropping out of school. So anyway, so are they bringing up these kind of programs again for them?
So with that, I would actually love to pass that. What knowledge do you have, Marissa, on the topics that she was asking about, those programs? I know that our program focuses on justice-impacted youth, and so we help connect them to jobs, we help connect them to life skills, and of course the academics. That's what our program is based on. But
teaching GED and things like that to them, and then putting them in the workforce depending on what they can do, because if they can't do anything, then they'll do janitorial services and things like that. But then maybe if they can do a little bit more, then they put in for cooking and things like that. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we try to create a pipeline with the demographic for your GED. I think it's 17, 18, right? Our population that we work with they're as young as 14. So it's like that in-between phase where we're really trying to catch them and have these interventions, have these resources so that they can continue on without re-entering the system. But oftentimes, that's where we're caught. They enter back in, and then there's that perpetual cycle. So we know and we utilize the programs as they come, but majorly, that's not we're not in the right time frame yet for it to really anticipate and to go towards those type of programs. Right.
Okay, so one of the behavioral things is autism also, and there's no ruling or anything like that.
Right.
Autism either. So like if you go to the workforce or anything like that, then if your boss says something to you or your coworker or somebody does something to you, you just have to take the hit for it.
Right.
Because there's no ruling.
That's a really good point.
When you're an adult, when you find out that you have autism, and then there's no ruling for that still, so what do you do in that case?
That's where early screenings are really, really helpful, but it's a matter of partnering. At least in our case, it's a matter of partnering with the school board, and saying, hey, can we have a nurse that come? Can we have a counselor so that they can do all of these interventions that any other student in a regular homeschool environment, they already have access to. But we do have those barriers where, because we're an alternative school and we're off-site and all of these different things, we can't get these screenings. Yes.
Because like when I was in school, then the nurses came and then I found out that I need glasses, so I have to go get my glasses and all that. So I learned that when I was in school. So the same way, like if you're not doing well in school or whatever, or you can't socialize and things like that, then it was okay, something's wrong, and then we need to take care of this, So the teacher needs to bring it out to the principal or
For vision and hearing, yes. But I want to paint a picture for y'all. In homeschool, you will have those opportunities where you have, those screenings. So imagine you being expelled. You're no longer allowed to come to the homeschool. You're in an alternative program setting where everything is virtual. You're not with a physical teacher. The principal already has her whole caseload with the school that she's physically in. Every time we kind of get pushed to the, as it we're on the back burner, if you will. But it takes individuals who are advocates to keep pressing, to keep advocating, to keep speaking up. And that's what we do in this space, but obviously more can be done.
Okay, like I was working for Pearson, and, okay, so Pearson, y'all know what Pearson is, okay, we do the test scoring, and then seeing if the child can go to the next level or stay on their level, depending on what the test is for. And sometimes we don't know if this test is on their level or not, so we don't tell the child that this test might not be on your level, but we have to give you a test, but they just know, all right, that they're taking a test and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, so when we're test scoring, if we find out that a child has a problem or, sometimes they don't have anybody to talk to, but on their test paper or something like that, they will show that there's a problem with them. And if we think that, yes, it is a problem, then we have a supervisor that we're supposed to talk to, and they're supposed to read the second reader and find out, because if it is a true thing, then the test that we're scoring will go to the principal of that school, and then the principal will have to take care of that situation that the child is in. So, but the child doesn't know that they have autism or any other kind of behavioral problems. So, how do you determine, with the test scoring or any other way of finding out, like that for the behavioral situation?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have an answer for that. I don't, right.
So I know what's going on.
Yes, but thank you for the questions, very important, and it's beneficial as well. One or two other questions? Yes. Yeah, so we are based in Savannah, Georgia. It is the REP program, WREP, yes. It's the Work Readiness Enrichment Program. But hopefully, it's a very unique thing that we do, y'all. It's with the Deep Center where we implement the restorative practices in this space with the juvenile courts who obviously their system impacted, so they're probation-based, and we have that partnership. And then it's also with Savannah Chatham County Board of Education as well. But we're located in Savannah, Georgia. It's the Work Readiness Enrichment Program, and we are with the Deep Center. Yes, but the question is, do they?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question.
Yeah, and not, sorry, I'm not, because it's the honest truth, and sorry for the awkward silence, but that's what we have to battle, in there. They do have to do that, but again, it's that back burner situation where we realize they've been in the program. When we are made aware of it, which is, I'm not going to say funny, is life navigators like Ms. Bridges here, where she interacts with our young people and realize, hey, something's a little different here. Are there accommodations that need to be made? Because there's a caring adult, because there is an advocate in the space, at least we can say, ooh, and we realize, oh my gosh, yeah, they do have an IEP. Now we can take it up and then try to fight that battle. Thank you so much for your time. We hope that there was either some insights or knowledge gained, or even just being able to have a conversation guided towards how we can break this cycle. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being advocates. Thank you for being a change agent and a promoter of progress. We'll get there. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We're going to begin the afternoon sessions in just a moment, everyone. But for the time being, if there's anyone who's a part of the afternoon reunification panel, please come on, go ahead and make your way up to the stage. Yeah, I just made an announcement, so that some should be coming, but I think a number is just kind of slow coming back from the Capitol.
Sucking boogers and slinging snot, crying.
Today, we're having an event to address the effect. Acts of mass incarceration on mothers. We have brought together mothers and their children, women who have been formerly incarcerated, to discuss the effects of how they dealt with being separated from their children while they were incarcerated, and also hear from the children on how it affected them for their mothers to be out of their lives.
My mother died the first week I got into prison. She died of breast cancer. The whole year while I was in the county jail waiting to be sentenced, she was suffering with breast cancer. Me and my mom were real close. We were born on the same day, so she was my best friend. And it was just, when she passed away, you know, I'm not no one's child anymore. That was my main thing. No one cares about me. I'm no one's child, so who cares about me in that way, in that manner? So it was tough.
20 years ago, to be exact, I feel like I lost two moms. I lost one through I didn't know how life would pan out, but it did. I pray for this moment to see her be the strongest person that she could be. I thank God for bringing her home. I thank God for bringing her home wise. I thank Him for bringing her home safe and in peace. And I don't even probably know. I thank you for allowing her to share her story with people that are just like her, even people that are not just like her, so they won't grow up to go off into a system. I just thank her for embracing who she is and not hiding. Because it's hard to come out off into this world.
Be playing somewhere else.
Today, we're having an event to address the effects of mass incarceration on mothers. We have brought together mothers and their children, women.
Yeah.
Today, we're having an event to address the effects of mass incarceration on mothers. We have brought together mothers and their children, women who have been formerly incarcerated, to discuss the effects of how they dealt with being separated from their children while they were incarcerated, and also hear from the children on how it affected them for their mothers to be out of their lives.
That's a feeling that's undescribable. I could probably put some words together, but it's like being on a desert and no water or trees.
My mother died the first week I got into prison. She died of breast cancer. the whole year while I was in the county jail waiting to be sentenced, she was suffering with breast cancer. Me and my mom were real close. We were born on the same day, so she was my best friend. And it was just, when she passed away, you know, I'm not no one's child anymore. That was my main thing. No one cares about me. I'm no one's child, so who cares about me in that way, in that manner? So it was tough.
20 years ago, to be exact, I felt like I lost two moms. I lost one through pretty much natural life, and I lost one to a broken system. I didn't know how life would pan out, but it did. I pray for this moment, to see her be the strongest person that she could be. I thank God for bringing her home. I thank God for bringing her home wise. I thank Him for bringing her home safe and in peace. And when you see her, you don't know the struggles that she went through. I don't even probably know. I thank you for allowing her to share her story with people that are just like her, even people that are not just like her, so they won't grow up to go off into a system. I thank them. I just thank her for embracing who she is and not hiding. Because it's hard to come out off into this world and to be something or successful, because when they let you out into this world, they don't have a plan for you, and sometimes you don't have a plan for yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melody. I am the membership organizer with Women on the Rise. As you guys can see, that was my little sister sharing our story. And we thank you for having us here today at Justice Day, and we thank you for coming to our panel. Our panel is titled From the Mouths of Women and Their Families. Today I have here with me
Shakithia Wheeler.
And Jaquithia Bird.
And Dominique Grant.
All right. Again, I would like to say welcome, everyone, to our discussion on the effects of incarceration on mothers and their children. As I said before, my name is Melody Jones, the membership organizer with Women on the Rise. The video just shown was from our Mother's Day event from last year. That was my sister explaining how my absence had such a huge impact on her. This just shows how incarceration impacts families and communities. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, Georgia has an incarceration rate of 968 per 1,000 people, meaning that it locks up a higher percentage of people than any democratic country on earth. Today, we are here to discuss the way this affects families and how reunification is such a challenge. And as I have already introduced our panel and our guests, so I have a couple questions, and we're gonna share our personal experiences here with you guys today. My first question is for Shakithia. What difficulties did you face as a parent being incarcerated?
Hello, my name is Shakithia, like she say. The difficulties as a parent. First of all, I raised my kids, so I was with them, they were with me their entire life. So leaving them was the most difficult thing to do. Also, just being a parent and having to just do basic things such as chastising your kids over the phone. They were, when I left, they were, you was 12? 14, about to be 14 or 14, somewhere in there. and I have other smaller kids. So that was difficult, just leaving them alone, period. I have a very supportive family. Their father, of course, was in the picture, but there's nothing like being able to do for your kids yourself, because I'm just a believer, no one is gonna treat your kids like you. You know, they'll do their best, but they're not gonna treat your kids the way that you are gonna treat them. Another difficult thing for me was my son was actually a baby. He was 4. So I had a brand new child. He was in pre-K. The most difficult thing was to come home the day before I was sentenced during my trial and tell my kids that I have no clue what tomorrow is gonna bring. And my little boy, he was like, you know, Mama, what? I didn't even have that conversation with him, you know, because he was 4. So I told him, you know, I love you. But I don't know if I'm gonna be here with you every day, you know. And at 4, of course, you don't know what they mean, you know. So I kind of relied on them. To be his mother, you know, because my mom, she getting old, but she held it down better than I thought. So just having to lead my children was just difficult. That altogether, missing graduations, I had to work so hard with her to make sure she finished school and do the right thing while she was in school. And I left and didn't get a chance to see her graduate, so that was very hard because I had been working my whole life, her whole life, to just make sure she finished school. We went through different challenges and stuff, you know, in life, and my main thing was to make sure all my kids go to school and finish, because I had her at 17, so I had her young. Therefore, I was still growing up, you know, but education was one of my biggest things. And I didn't want to leave, and then she ended up, you know, following the cycle that I fell into, getting a baby, not finishing school. So just relying on other people to raise your kids is hard, especially when you are a parent who is very involved, you know. So that was one of the most difficult things for me.
And also, I want to say that Jakethia came all the way from school today to be on this panel, so I want to thank you. And also, her mother did a wonderful job. Her mom and grandma did a wonderful job. The next question is for you. Jakethia, what difficulties did you face with your mother being incarcerated yourself?
Well, like she stated before, school and her not being at home, basically coming home every day, seeing your mama there, and of course, like not knowing when she gonna come back or how she gonna come back. You know, it was just a lot. It was different. The day that she got sentenced, I didn't go to the trial or anything. I just went to the last day, and it was like, it was hard because the judge, it was just, when he just sentenced her, it was like no remorse, and it was very devastating, like not going back home with her. And And of course, I had younger siblings that didn't understand, so. So yeah, I had younger siblings that didn't understand, so it was hard explaining it to them. So, because at the time, and my sister was like 7, so of course at that age, you only know life or death, so they didn't understand, like, mama not here, but how she alive? So, it was just different. Calling, not being able to call, so always having the feeling of have to be by your phone when she called. And so every time your phone ring, I think it's her, even if it's not, but it's just the thought of knowing, like, I gotta be by my phone. Even if I'm in class and she called, I gotta be by my phone. So just to talk to her, not wanting to miss her phone call. I would say that. And of course, yeah, finishing school and her not being there, seeing me graduate. But of course, like she said, we have a good support system. My grandma, my dad, my grandparents and stuff was there. So knowing that my family was there for her, I feel like that made it feel better, especially like my dad and my grandma.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jakethia. My next question will be for Dominique. Dominique had a parent that was incarcerated, so she's here also speaking on the behalf of a child of an incarcerated parent. The question is, can you give us some examples of the effects of a child having a parent who is incarcerated?
Sure, thank you. So I wanted to start out with a couple of statistics real quick that I got from the Sentencing Project and the Prison Policy Initiative. But half the people in prison are parents to minors, leaving 1.25 million kids to cope alone. So women were also more likely to have been living with their children prior to being incarcerated, and about 52% of women with minor children were living with them at the time of their arrest in comparison to men. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that children of incarcerated mothers are more likely to become incarcerated compared to children with incarcerated fathers. So when we talk about the effects and the trauma, we're looking at it. We're looking at the anxiety of separation. We're looking at what it means to feel a level of abandonment, but also not only abandonment from that parent, but abandonment by your system, by your community, by your government. Jakethia said, she mentioned that the judge showed no remorse. How can you have faith in society in the event that you see the one person that you love go before someone and they have no mercy for their life? So those are just some of the effects. I really want to leave the opportunity for Jakethia and Kiki, and Kiki to speak more about their experiences. I feel like this is healing. One of the things that I heard you say, and I just want to point this out, this is so beautiful, and this is why it is so important to get our people free. She is here now. She is with her baby now. So thank you.
All right, my next question will be for Shakithia. Kiki, what is something that you feel like you missed, what you said, that you can't get back?
As far as the things that I missed, because I have 4 kids, so I missed a lot in between the 4 of them. My son, he's my only boy. So I was used to girls, prayed for a son, and then when I got one, I was taken away from him. So I missed a lot as far as how a little boy grows up. I knew what to expect from little girls. They sassy and smart mouth and they storm off at you and all kind of little stuff. So I knew how girls operate. But I missed and even though my kids was very involved in visitation, but it's a difference because I seen them at least twice a month. And the good thing about it was I was in the Children's Center when I was incarcerated, which is a program where the kids can visit you in more of a daycare type setting instead of in the regular visitation, general visitation. So I was a part of the Children's Center, so I was able to kind of bond with my kids more, but it still was different from being at home because you could only do so much. So being able to raise a little boy, I really didn't get to do that. And that's something I always wanted to do. But I seen the difference and the growth, because every time he come to visitation, you know, it was just something different. But I wasn't home with him, and he had a lot of questions. He had a lot of questions, and he too was acting out. You know, he was acting out because I was not there. But yeah, so I missed a lot of just seeing them growing up, going from, when I left, I had kids in daycare, elementary, middle, and high. So I missed all of that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. My nephew loves her, so you're great with boys. My nephew, he loves her. The next question is for Jakithia. What were your expectations when your mother was released?
Honestly, seeing her get out running, trying to build our life back up, because she was already an accountant before she left, so, you know, we had a good life, and it was all taken away from us in just a blink of an eye, like, for real. So I'm proud of her for coming out, stepping out, doing it, and giving, you know, more, so.
And she is doing it big. She's giving back. She's doing it big. I know, yes. All right, my next question is for my statistics lady with the numbers. Dominique, what are known traumas that children of incarcerated parents experience?
All right, well, so from personal experience, no. But I'll talk about my personal experiences and some of the trauma that I personally faced. But I do want to start out with, there are studies that show that ultimately children of incarcerated parents have tons of disadvantages when it comes to learning disabilities, when it comes to health outcomes, when it comes to speech or language delays, as well as a higher rate of physical conditions such as asthma and obesity. And there are also serious financial implications when losing a sole provider. I had that written down. That was crazy. Thank you. But there are serious financial implications that come with not having a parent around, period. So y'all already know if y'all got a parent that's out on the street and not providing, you can only imagine what it is inside when you have to send money to that family member as well. But some of the trauma that I faced, to be completely honest, my father had substance use disorder, or had a substance use disorder, and that he's still fighting to this day, and I'm extremely proud of him as well. But my father had a substance use disorder, and one of the things that I felt, or there were a few things, but in childhood, there was that sense of abandonment. I don't belong to this particular person. I was raised by a dad, but it was also very clear to me that he wasn't my father. So dealing with that abandonment. But then in my adult life, the trauma lives in your body. So having a parent that is incarcerated, you don't realize how much you embody that. You don't realize, literally tell me all the time, oh, you definitely been locked up before. All of my counterparts that have been locked up tell me I've been locked up, but that is because my body has carried generational trauma. And just to be clear, incarceration in my family didn't start with my father. It started with his mother. And then it moved on to her children. So I come from a line of people who have been incarcerated, and I see it all throughout my cousins and my family. You have to live it to be able to fully understand what it means and what it feels like. Thankfully, I am in a place where, and my father is in a place where he finally got his own place. And he's working on treating his mental health issues along with his substance use disorders. But ultimately, those are some of the traumas that children of incarcerated parents face.
Thank you, Dominique. And her mother is a beast. Her mother is out here advocating, doing it. I love Tony. All right, Shakithia, our last question for you is, what is something that you enjoy doing now with your daughter now that you are home?
Well, it's the simplest things, because I can say vacationing, you know, but really to me it's just the simple things, because just her coming home from work at night, eating my food up. It's just as simple as that, you know. Yes, she little, but she can eat. So, you know, being able to take them on trips and stuff like that, I miss doing that, because we would travel probably 2-3 times a year, you know, cruises, you know. So I miss that. And we can do it all over again, but being gone from them, when you're incarcerated, you miss the simplest things, not the big major things. Just her being able to come in my room, Mama, where we go eat? You know, who food is that in the microwave? Just little bitty stuff. Mine, well, I'm about to eat it. You know, well, that's really why I got extra when I left the restaurant, because I know you were going to eat it. So it's just little things like that. I mean, just knowing that we're all in the same house, you know, we can get lazy and everybody roam out on different parts of the house, and they'll call upstairs and, you know, or call me in the next room. I'm like, you right down the hall. So it's just little things that that we do. It's not the big things. It's the small things. One thing I would like to share is my other daughter who's in college, because she's in college too. Actually, all 3 of my girls in college. So, but my daughter that's in Savannah, we used to, on Saturday mornings when I was incarcerated, because she was little, like 9, 10, and then my little boy, he was like, at that point, he was 6 and 7 by then. And we would get up on Saturday mornings. I was in prison, they was at home. We would watch Bounce together. So, because we would be up, they feed us at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we'd be up. And I couldn't go back to sleep, so I would watch TV. And I realized this station, Bounce station, have a lot of kids shows. So I said, you know what, I would love to watch this with my kids. So I said, I'm gonna stay up. They get up about 8, 9 o'clock. After count, it was count time for us. So after count, me and my kids was on a little schedule. They know about count. They know about all of that. So they knew after count time, Mama gonna be calling, and if I have to call back 3, 4, 5 times, we go watch Bounce together. And I'm standing there on the phone, and we, you know, sharing our experiences and stuff. So, I remember we watching Karate Kid one time, and my little boy, he was a Karate Kid. So we would watch TV and stuff even from a distance. I was still trying to be a parent, from a distance, asking them, you have homework, trying to work through homework assignments and just trying to do stuff from a distance. Now I can do it in the comfort of our brand new home. So, so that's what I enjoy, just the simplest thing, watching TV together. Because I don't go out and like I used to. Now, I used to be gone. She can tell you that. But I had her young, so, I was growing up with her, actually. So, but now I don't go out anymore. I'm at home because I'm embracing the fact that I'm home. I'm embracing it, and I love my home. That's, so. But it's just as simple as that. Mm-hmm.
Make me miss my mama. Okay, Jakithia, your last question is, what is something that you enjoy doing now that your mother has been released? Same thing.
I mean, she pretty much said eating up her food. But, and knowing that I can go in her room and she right there, like seeing her, calling her. I like to pop pimples, so I'm gonna find a pimple somewhere. If she ain't got it, I'm gonna make one. Pretty much. I enjoy just her presence, just knowing, I know. But yeah, pretty much that, it was hard, but it's easy, just knowing, oh yeah, I call my mom, call her about anything, anything.
Thank you for sharing. Our next question, which is our last question, is for Dominique. How does your experience shape your perspective of influence your current situation? Your experience with your father being incarcerated?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for with having a parent that was incarcerated is my ability to empathize with formerly incarcerated people. As we stated earlier, I had a mother who was my advocate, who was a person that, started this work when she was pregnant with me and noticing the system and the changes that needed to be made and the things that have happened. Another thing is I have a higher level of sensitivity for people with mental health issues, and somebody that I suffer myself. I'm able to empathize and feel for people. And I'm just grateful to be able to be in a space to be around people that I can learn from. I think that people discount what they can learn. I think, and Nikki mentioned it earlier with the quote from Tiffany, but ultimately a degree is not where wisdom comes from. Experiences is where wisdom comes from. And I'm blessed to be a person that is not afraid of anybody, and not in a confrontational way, but in a way where I truly understand people and I don't have to judge you before I get a chance to meet you. I'm gonna meet you where you are. So those are some of the things, and then I'm just grateful to just be in a space where I can learn and have passion and care for formerly incarcerated people, and being able to see and feel the trauma leave my body. I've grown so much since I started with Women on the Rise in regards to just how I see myself and understand the trauma that lives in my body generationally and what that looks like and what it means to heal that. So yeah, just healing.
Thank you, Dominique. And I want to say I'm thankful for your experience and your empathy also, because Dominique has, I would say, sheltered me and made sure that I have been all right ever since I stepped into this position, coming out of prison, just from traveling, being able to help me, just knowing that I always have her by my side. So her empathy, and I always say she acts like she was my bunkmate in prison, because she is always able to just relate, and it's because of generational trauma. Just knowing so many people that have been incarcerated and doing this work, she's great at it. So I just want to say that Women on the Rise, we're thankful for you, and I love you to death. Right now, I want to open up the floor to any questions if anybody have any. I know it's late and we've been a little over time.
As the parent left back at home to support the children, the one thing we haven't talked about that my daughter, I had to shield her from my family trying to impose shame on her because her father was incarcerated. And I just was determined that she was not carrying any shame. She would walk with her head held high. She didn't have to be secretive about it. My mom was trying to protect her by telling her, don't tell anybody that your father's in jail or in prison. And when I found out, I said, absolutely not. I said, she will never carry that. That's not a burden for her to carry. That's his station at that point in time. He is still your father. He loves you. He's dealing with what he has to deal with, and it has nothing to do with her, so she doesn't have to carry that burden. So I just want to encourage family members. We have to, and I was loving to hear you say, Jakithia, I'm not going to mess your name up, Jakithia, about how your family, your grandma and dad were able to try to, support while Kiki's supporting from afar. It's so important that family members be there to hold and love on the person who's on the inside, no matter what they did. My daughter's father burned a lot of bridges, but the one thing I was not going to let happen, she was going to love and respect him and know that she was born out of love, and that was that. People have issues, people have situations, and family members can sometimes perpetuate the trauma if we don't stand strong in the corners of the children and the loved ones who are incarcerated. So I really encourage us, anytime you hear or see a young person, hear from a young person who has an incarcerated family member, support them and talk about them not having to carry shame, because that's something that's intuitive based on the way our society operates. So if we could tackle that shame, it'll start to nip away at some of the trauma that comes with it.
And good afternoon to each and every one of you. I want to give God the praise for this moment. I want to address the traumas of children with incarcerated parents. When my dad conceived me in prison, my mother was allowed to sleep with him. This was in 1949. I was conceived at that time, and I told my daddy, I said, I remember coming to the prison with my mom and bringing you a brown paper bag. He said, no, you don't remember that. And it is very strange that I really did think that. I must have dreamed it. But it is innate in me to try and make a difference in the lives of children whose parents are incarcerated, and the traumas, the difficulties that they go through. I know, Jakithia, I can't say it right, but you know I'm talking to you, baby. I know that you're not even touching what you really felt. And Dominique, I know you're not touching it. As a child, I was about 12 years old. My dad used to go to jail. Even at the age of 12, I always felt like I needed to go to jail too, until I actually went. I really think I needed to go to jail because my dad was there. But the feelings of abandonment, the feelings of not knowing what's going on with him used to bother me. And he used to tell me all the time, he says, you're going to end up looking 30. He said, you're only 15. You're going to end up looking 30 before you know it. Stop worrying. But as a child, it's not so easy not to worry about your parent. My daddy had me driving at the age of 10 because he was too drunk to drive himself. So there's a lot of stuff that we have had to go through because of the lifestyle and the issues that our parents went through. So in my heart, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to help some children. And I mean to do it with all I have in me to make it happen. They need it.